Welcome to today's Tea Time audio story. It's time to slow down, take a deep breath, and enjoy a moment just for you. As you sip your favorite tea, let your mind drift into the world of stories, where imagination comes alive and anything is possible. Listening to audio stories isn't just entertaining, it's also a wonderful way to relax, spark creativity, and improve your English in a natural and enjoyable way. Stories have the power to transport us to far-off places, introduce us to new characters, and remind us of life's little lessons. So whether you're here to unwind, learn something new, or simply enjoy a quiet escape, this is your time. Get comfortable, let your worries melt away, and allow today's story to take you on a journey. Let the magic begin. Leanna stood at the edge of the water, her toes sinking into cool sand, the horizon stretching wide and endless before her. The wind caught strands of her hair, tossing them into her face, and the ocean breathed steadily, as if it too understood the rhythm of becoming. This moment wasn't grand or loud, but it felt profound. It felt final. And yet, it also felt like a beginning. Because becoming was never about reaching an end. It was about learning to live in motion, embracing change, and finding strength in the in-between. And Leanna had learned to live there, to thrive there. She reflected on the woman she had been. The girl who had learned to shrink, to hide. The woman who had learned to fight, to claim space, to step forward even when fear tried to hold her back. She thought about the mirror that once defined her. The scale that had dictated her worth. The words that had cut deeper than they should have. She thought about the nights she cried, about the mornings she forced herself to rise, about the meals that once felt like battles. And she thought about how far she had come. There was a time when she believed the journey would end with a number, a size, a version of herself that finally felt acceptable. But growth had taught her otherwise. It had shown her that the journey wasn't about reaching perfection. It was about learning to see herself, to love herself, at every step. Leanna had learned to celebrate resilience. To find pride in the strength it took to rise after every fall. To embrace her scars, not as shameful marks but as evidence of battles fought and survived. She had learned to honor her body, not for how it looked, but for what it carried her through. For the miles walked, the weights lifted, the laughter shared. For every morning it rose with her, every night it rested in strength and vulnerability. And most importantly, she had learned to measure her worth by her heart, her mind, her courage, not by numbers, not by judgment, not by the approval of others. Her blog had become a testament to that journey. A place where she shared not perfection, but truth. A place where others found their stories reflected back at them. And in their words, their courage, their shared vulnerability, Leanna had found a community that lifted her. She learned that becoming wasn't a solitary process. It was built in connections, in shared strength, in the quiet grace of being seen and accepted. She saw it in Noah's eyes too, a love that never asked her to be more or less, but simply to be. A love that accepted her fully, flaws and all. A love that reminded her every day that she was enough, exactly as she was. There were still hard days. Days when doubt whispered, when the past felt too close. But those days no longer defined her. They no longer had power over her. Because now, she met them with compassion, with understanding. She let herself feel them, and then she let them pass. And in their wake, she found strength, resilience, hope. She gathered that hope and wove it into her life. Into the meals she cooked, the words she wrote, the relationships she nurtured. She let it shape her mornings, quiet and intentional. She let it color her evenings, warm and present. She let it remind her that becoming wasn't about arriving. It was about learning to live in the space between. One evening, as the sun sank low, Noah wrapped his arms around her, holding her close. "You've come so far," he whispered, his voice full of pride and love. Leanna rested her head against him, her heart full. "I have. But there's still more." Noah nodded. "Always more. But you're already enough." And she smiled, because she knew it was true. Leanna no longer feared the future. No longer feared the moments that would stretch her, challenge her. She welcomed them. Because she had learned that strength wasn't in standing still, but in moving forward, even when the path wasn't clear. She had learned that love, for herself, for others, was the foundation of that strength. And that love didn't require perfection. It only required presence. In the end, Leanna wasn't defined by her weight, by her appearance, by the opinions of others. She was defined by her courage. By her willingness to fight for herself, to rise after every fall. By her kindness, her empathy, her quiet, steady resilience. She was defined by the love she gave and the love she accepted. And that was enough. Standing at the water's edge, she whispered a quiet promise to herself. To keep becoming. To keep loving. To keep living, whole and unafraid. And with the waves lapping at her feet, with the sky stretched wide above her, Leanna smiled. Because she was ready. And she was already enough. Thank you for joining today's Tea Time story. We hope you enjoyed this journey into the world of imagination and storytelling. Whether it made you smile, sparked a new thought, or simply gave you a moment to relax, we're grateful to have shared this time with you. Thank you for listening and being part of our story time. Keep dreaming, keep imagining, and we'll see you again for another magical tale soon. Until next time, take care and happy listening.